Flag burning, my friends, is essentially a rejection of fidelity. It rejects the fidelity one ought to have to the universal ideas and principles that America was founded upon. It rejects the fidelity that one ought to have towards the basis of the Commonwealth and towards that kind of goodwill that is fomented by the moral character of our country. It rejects the fidelity that we ought to have towards the intellectual heritage that all of us, by virtue of being Americans, happen to inherit. And by rejecting that fidelity, we ultimately reject, in essence, our standing as citizens. Because your standing as a citizen is based entirely upon those moral principles and the duties, responsibilities, and rights that flow from those moral principles. People are incorrect in believing that citizenship is merely a legal designation or a legal privilege. Citizenship, at least in America, is fundamentally an assertion of the values you hold as an American, of the principles you hold as an American, and of the intellectual history that goes all the way back to 1776 and a little bit before that, that you inherit by virtue of being an American. Flag burning rejects all of that. Having said that, there is a danger in putting so much emphasis on symbols that we actually forget humanity. We actually forget the observable world. Sometimes we think the idea of America and the place of America, most importantly, is bound up in a flag that flies high above the ground. When in all reality, the idea of America and most importantly, the place of America are bound up in the people that manifest it in the real world, the people that make it possible. Sometimes, my friends, the flag should be seen as a piece of cloth that represents something, but does not contain what it represents. If the flag contained the dignity and the grace of our country, then our country would be little more than an object that can be discarded, traded, and owned by anyone, because that's what a flag can be. It can be owned by anyone, it can be traded, it can be discarded. America is so much bigger than any symbol. America is the living, breathing inheritance of the Enlightenment in the West. America is the living, breathing inheritance of an ethic, of an ethos that gives man a proper recognition of both his nature and the principles that constitute it, the rights that constitute it, and the kind of society necessary to hold government accountable and to ensure a free and good society. America is the representation of so many different things that are unique in the stream of history. And to reduce it to a flag, or to reduce it to simply national pride, is not only to debase America, it's to fundamentally misunderstand the character of America. So when it comes to flag burning, while flag burning most certainly is an offense to fidelity, flag worship is also an offense to fidelity,